Hello and welcome to ROG Pulse, your inside look at what's happening behind the scenes here at the Republic of Gamers. And while our big CES event is still a full day away, we are ready to announce our first batch of new products for 2025, which is motherboards.
Yeah, and not like a couple motherboards, like a lot of motherboards.
A lot.
So many motherboards. So specifically, most of today's stream is about our new B860, B850, and B840 motherboards. So if you go back into our channel archives just a bit, you'll see that we announced our high-end Z890 and X870 motherboards a few months back. But not everyone necessarily needs to go like all out with one of those top-end boards, right?
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, a lot of people, especially if you're building a PC just for gaming, can get away with everything you need with one of these B-series boards instead, which provide just so much more bang for your buck. All these boards are great no matter which route you want to go, but
Yeah.
man, these are an excellent addition to our lineup.
They're really like all the essentials at a good price. I don't want to say like no frills because there are definitely frills on some of these boards, especially like, man, if you look at some of the new stuff we brought into our motherboard lineup a year or two ago, right? Those have like trickled down to these boards, and it's going to be such a big upgrade from the board you currently have in a lot of cases. Things that make your life easier when you're building the PC or when you're trying to get those boosts in performance. So we do have a couple Z890 and X870E boards to add to the high-end lineup too, so we will get to those. But let's start with some of the general features that make these boards special, and then we'll start with the Intel boards for 2025. So back when we launched Z890, we talked about the new super high bandwidth CU-DIMM memory that's now available. And the new motherboards we're announcing today are compatible with that as well. So turn on one of our new AEMP3 profiles, and you can reach crazy speeds on your RAM. Obviously, you will also find PCIe 5.0 on many of these boards, as well as Wi-Fi 7 in some cases. Plus, on the we're talking about those B-series boards, they're going to support more M.2 drives than previous B-series boards. And thankfully, those M.2 slots are easier to use than ever, thanks to some of our easy DIY Q design features. So you've got our M.2 Q latch system, which lets you insert and remove M.2 drives without those tiny screws that they used to have. Our Q slide feature allows you to fit smaller M.2 drives into the slots by sliding that retention mechanism into place. That's really cool, especially if you have a drive left over from like your ROG Ally or something that you want to pop into your PC. And then the M.2 Q release feature makes it easier than ever to remove the heat sinks for your SSD. So you will be able to populate all of those M.2 slots without any tools or hassle or losing those tiny screws in your power supply. Don't ask me how I know about that. Our PCIe, I know. Our PCIe slots also have a Q-Release Slim feature, which allows you to remove your graphics card without having to fiddle with any switches. You can kind of just pop it out.
So good.
So nice. Some of the boards in our lineup may use our older Q-Release mechanism, which has a button that you press. Still way easier than using the little latch on the end of the slot. So it kind of varies from board to board, but all of them are going to be easier to build in than the board you currently have if you're kind of a few generations back. So, and of course, the BIOS updates we brought to Z890 will be available on the B-series boards as well. So that includes a 1080p interface.
About time.
I know. Our new Q dashboard, which lets you navigate BIOS features by looking at a motherboard diagram. So I think we have a GIF of this. Basically, if you're like, I want to see the features that pertain to this particular slot on the board, you can just select it and it will take you to the requisite BIOS page. That's a really cool feature, especially if it's like your first time building a PC. Also coming to the B series is our new ASUS AI Advisor. This is an AI assistant. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick because we do have one more thing. The Q antenna is another feature that's coming.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. It's just something
These are nice.
That's super convenient to just be able to magnetically remove these and attach these to your motherboard. It's phenomenal.
The previous versions you had to like screw in. They were kind of like coax cable, which some of you kids may not even remember the pain of the coax cable. But the antennas used to be like that. Now you can just pop them in. Super nice big upgrade. Sorry. Okay. So the ASUS AI Advisor is an AI assistant that uses natural language to get you quick access to some of the BIOS features that you need. So instead of like trying to figure out how XMP works, you can just say, how can I improve my memory performance? And it'll explain how XMP works and give you a button to enable it right then and there in the assistant without
That's
having to like go
phenomenal.
find it in the BIOS. Yeah, it's awesome. It can optimize your fans. It can overclock your CPU, all with just a few like natural language keystrokes. And that's going to be available on our Intel and AMD 800 series boards. So you can see more about some of these features in our previous stream about Z890. You can
Mm.
click the links in the video description to get some more information about some of these features. But I know you guys wanted to see the boards, so let's dive in. Starting with two of our higher end Intel boards. We'll get to the B series in a second, but I do want to mention the two new Z890 boards we're announcing today. The first is the ROG Maximus Z890 Hero BTF. So the Hero is one of the best Intel motherboards you can buy today. The BTF version is compatible with our hidden cable design, which, so the PCIe slot, for example, is a high power PCIe slot that lets you plug in one of our BTF graphics cards without an extra cable going to that card. A lot
That's
of the
so
connectors
good.
for stuff is on the back. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, you can see. So there's like your 24 pin and stuff. So everything plugs into the back of the motherboard for this super, super clean look with just completely hidden cables. It's awesome. And of course, it's got the full gamut of premium technologies we offer today. It's got AI overclocking, AI cooling 2, AI networking 2, the ASUS AI Advisor I just mentioned. It's got NitroPath, DRAM, NPU boost, DIMM flex. I could keep going, but if you want a powerful PC that you can overclock and customize to the nines, this is a great one. It's got PCIe 5.0. It's got all the DIY features we just mentioned, the Q latch and Q slide. I could be here all day listing the features of this board, but we have like a million other boards to talk about, so I won't. If you're building a BTF machine, your prayers have been answered.
Yeah, this
Get
is
this
it.
board. Yeah. So the other Z890, if you don't need the full series of high-end features, our ROG Strix boards are a good choice, and we've got a new addition to that crew with the ROG Strix Z890-H gaming Wi-Fi. Now this has the full Z890 chipset, but it's a more affordable board from the Strix lineup. So like you have the we'll kind of go through them today. You have all the different Strix boards, and then this kind of sits in between the Strix boards and the Tough lineup in terms of kind of affordability and bang for your buck, while still getting that full Z890 chipset and the benefit that it provides. So, but alternatively, if you don't need all the features of Z890, you'll want to check out the B series boards. So let's start with those. First is the ROG Strix B860F gaming Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean,
This
digging
is
the
a good looking
aesthetics
board.
here. It's looking nice. It's what you expect to see on a Strix board. Really has a little bit of RGB sprinkled in there, but nice, clean,
I
dark
love like the
aesthetic.
pixel logo on the back of the board. Like I never even see the back of the board, but I just love the way that looks.
It's cool. It's subtle, but it's yeah, the Strix right there
Yeah.
in the shroud too. That's cool.
Yep. Yeah. So this is the highest end model of the B860 lineup. So the highest end of our mid-range, upper mid-range boards
Mhm.
for a couple reasons. You've got all the slots you need for a well-stocked PC, right? You've got 4 DIMM slots. You got PCIe 5.0 for the graphics card and storage. You've got Thunderbolt 4 connectivity, Wi-Fi 7, 2.5 gig Ethernet, and plenty of USB ports. Where this board stands out from the other Strix B series boards is in two areas. One is that it has excellent power delivery. It's got a 16 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 design. And the other is audio. We're using an ROG Supreme FX 7.1 surround sound high definition audio codec on this board with a Savitech SV3H712 amp. Now, if none of that means anything to you, I highly recommend you head over to edgeup.asus.com, where our colleague Eric just wrote a guide all about the different types of onboard audio and when you might want one over the other. A higher end audio solution is going to have less electrical interference, so you have less like noise coming in through your headphones or whatever. It's going to be able to support higher end audio codecs, things like that. So go check that out. Now, those are kind of the two areas that this board excels, but it also, of course, comes with all of our best ASUS Q design features that make building easier. So the M.2 Q latch, the M.2 Q release, the
These are
Q release
just
Slim for your
game
graphics
changers.
cards.
And I just want to point out that like if you're a veteran builder, you're gonna love these. If you're a new builder, this only makes building a PC easier. And maintaining your PC, upgrading your PC, all of those things are now so much faster to do. And that's why we call it PC DIY, right? It makes it so much easier to maintain and build and upgrade your PC.
I have been building PCs for almost 15 years, and I am so sick of tiny screws, man. I swear to you. Like, I still, because I have a slightly older board that doesn't have a lot of these
So
features.
do
And
I.
every time we have to talk about them, it makes me want to upgrade. Because every time I have to swap out an SSD, I have to like get my screwdriver with a little heatsink screws and all this stuff. And like, man, these are just so
And we've
nice.
all gotten those screws
So
in
nice.
PSU fans and whatnot. Like I've definitely lost screws to my power supply fans. You get it out
Yeah.
eventually, but it's a chore. It's a chore.
I sat there just shaking it for like 15 minutes before it finally came out. I
Hmm.
did get it though. So next up, the Dash A boards of our ROG Strix series usually stand out with a more unique aesthetic design, and you can see
Yeah.
this one is no different.
Yep.
Frosty,
We've seen more and
so
more people that
frosty.
want to build, ROG machines that have that white aesthetic or the panda aesthetic, and we've been enabling that for years now, and this is no exception.
Yeah, it looks great. Pretty like it's kind of similar in overall style to the Dash F, but it's got that white look. I love it. Like its big brother, this board has 4 M.2 slots. It's got onboard Wi-Fi 7, plenty of expansion. In fact, this one has 10 USB ports on the back
It's so
with
good.
3 headers for front panel ports. So if you've got a lot of stuff to plug in and you want to do it in style, this is the board for you. Now, I know some people have been waiting for this next one too. The ROG Strix B860G gaming Wi-Fi is a micro ATX board. So it has a lot of the same features. It's got 4 DIMM slots. It's got 4 M.2 slots. It's got Wi-Fi 7 and so on. But it shrinks the number of PCIe slots to just that 116X slot there, making the overall board much more compact for use in micro ATX cases. This isn't mini ITX. It's not the super, super tiny one.
Right.
But you'd be surprised how much desk space you can save with one of those micro ATX cases. They're still pretty compact.
They are, and so many people don't use additional PCI slots for like capture cards back in the day,
Yeah.
something I used a lot of, but nowadays a lot of those things can be done over USB-C because USB has gotten so much better, so much, higher, faster speeds on that line. So yeah, you're really just kind of wasting money on PCI lines if you're not using them. So this is kind of a cool thing that you're cutting that cost, and
Money
you're also
and
cutting the
space.
size. Yeah, you're getting both out of it.
The micro ATX boards are really cost effective, and I think more people would probably benefit from looking into those.
Agreed.
Yeah, I really like micro ATX, and we've got a few to show off today, so I'm pretty excited about that. Now, that said, I laud the micro ATX boards, but I myself am a mini ITX guy. So if you want to go really compact, we've got the ROG Strix B860-I gaming Wi-Fi. These are for those ultra small form factor PCs, right? Micro ATX is like a small tower. These can be like really, really tiny little machines that come in kind of all different shapes, and you can kind of put them anywhere.
Yeah, there's some cool cases for sure. I've never built one myself. I'm afraid I would just make a mess of it. Make a mess of my hands more than anything, trying to get my hands in there.
I have cut my hands on many a case because you really gotta squeeze your fingers into tiny little areas to get stuff plugged in, and it can be difficult, but it is worth it for the end result. Now, because the board is so shrunk, right? You're saving some space on a few more things. You've only got 2 DIMM slots here, but it's still compatible with up to 96 gigabytes of RAM, so
Nice.
plenty if you're building a gaming PC. You've got 2 M.2 slots. I don't know how we fit 2 M.2 slots on a micro or a mini ITX board. That's like crazy.
Wizardry.
You can plug in 2 drives. Yeah, wizardry. Thunderbolt support, a robust VRM architecture, somehow still 8 USB ports on this tiny monster.
That's the most impressive thing to me, I think. Like,
you might be right.
It's so cool, crazy.
Yeah. If you're building a small, like ultra small form factor PC, this board is going to be an excellent option.
Yeah. A lot of really nice options there on the ROG front. But of course, we do have to talk about our sister brands with TUF being next on the list. So let's go ahead and talk about the TUF B860 plus Wi-Fi.
That's right. There it is. Oof.
It's cool.
I like this new design. It's sleek.
TUF is maturing very, very nicely, like a fine wine.
That's a good way to put it. I love like that just completely flat chipset heatsink. I love the TUF like T logo. It's actually a T and a U and an F all in one logo. It's really cool.
Yeah, the rebrand was nice for sure. A couple of years ago, I think
really
we did
good.
that, but
Yeah. Now, this is a full-size ATX board, so it has the specs that matter most, right? It's got 4 DIMM slots. You've got 3 PCIe slots, one of which is a 1X slot for smaller add-in cards. You've got three M.2 slots, so plenty of space for storage. It still comes with Wi-Fi 7 on this board. Comes with our easy DIY features like the M.2 Q latch and the PCIe slot Q release button. So really great, ultra durable board that's good bang for your buck, going to stand the test of time. Excellent option if you're building a full ATX PC.
Yeah, agreed.
But if you prefer micro ATX, the B860M Plus and the B860M Plus Wi-Fi have a lot of the same features as the regular B860 Plus, but again, in that slightly more compact form factor. You get one PCIe 5.0 16X slot up there, and then one PCIe 4.0 X4 slot. So you do have room again for a smaller add-in card, just not another full-size card. And for most gamers, like you said earlier, that's plenty. That's all most people need.
More than enough. And yeah, the only real difference with these is one is onboard Wi-Fi 7 and the other doesn't. So I mean, you get Bluetooth with Wi-Fi as well. Oh yeah.
Yes, and that's a good point, right? So remember, there's two boards here. You got the B860M Plus and the B860M Plus Wi-Fi. The only difference is Wi-Fi 7, but the Bluetooth is on the Wi-Fi chip. So if you tend to connect over Ethernet, but you still need Bluetooth support for any peripherals, you'll want the Wi-Fi version of this board because Bluetooth is built into that wireless chip. Now you can like
adapters work fine, but like you're just better off having it natively on board.
It's just easier.
Yeah.
But of course, if you don't need any Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, save a couple bucks, get the non-Wi-Fi version. Now, let's move on to ASUS Prime.
Okay.
The ASUS Prime B860 Plus Wi-Fi gives you a wide selection of ports and PCI slots. But so this is a good board if you have a lot of stuff you want to connect, but you want something that's really cost effective for your build, right? So this uses Wi-Fi 6E instead of 7. You've got 8 USB ports on the back with headers for front I/O, so plenty of room to connect stuff. 2 M.2 slots. This board is going to serve a lot of people well, but it's really cost effective. So it kind of depends on your needs for these. Now we have another B860 Plus with no Wi-Fi in the name. But Wi-Fi is not the only difference like it was for that tough board. So I want to mention that the non-Wi-Fi version also ditches a couple of those PCIe slots in order to fit a third M.2 slot on the board.
Interesting.
So if you have 3 storage drives, you may want to look at the non-Wi-Fi version, provided you don't need Wi-Fi. So there's a little bit more of a kind of trade-off there that you got to think about. Now, if you're going micro ATX, the Prime B860M A and its Wi-Fi counterpart are both more compact options from the Prime family. Still some solid connectivity. You've got a full-size PCIe 16X slot and 2 smaller expansion slots, plus 2 M.2 slots. But the main difference here is just Wi-Fi between the Wi-Fi and non-Wi-Fi boards. No other changes. And it's going to be Wi-Fi 6E on the Wi-Fi version. Finally, the ASUS Prime B860M-K is a micro ATX board with 2 DIMM slots, 1 PCIe 4.0 X16 slot. So this is ideal, again, if you have a shorter checklist of necessities. You could build a gaming PC with this. You could do a home theater PC that uses integrated graphics or a mini home server. It's like really versatile for something that, if you don't need to sink a bunch of money into features that you don't plan on using. The 860MK is going to be a solid board.
Makes perfect sense to save money if you're not going to utilize the features. But that is it for our Intel family of the B-series boards. But those of you, I know there's plenty of people here in chat that are on Team Red, and we've got a lot of new boards on that front as well.
Yes. Before we get to the B-series boards, I do want to mention we have a new high-end Crosshair X870E Apex board coming later this quarter. We're focusing most on the B-series boards, but for those of you familiar with the Apex boards, these are built for hardcore and or professional overclockers, right? We have already set 8 global first place records on this board, or I shouldn't say this board has been the platform for 8 global first place records for Geekbench 4 multi-core, 7-zip, Cinebench R23, and more on the Ryzen 9 9950X. And so, yeah, if you are like making a play for an overclocking record, this is the board you want. All the must-have features for top-tier overclocking: dynamic OC switcher, core flex, asynchronous clock, PBO enhancement. It's even got the ROG memory fan kit, so you could get even higher RAM speeds, right? It's like everything. Now, that's not the only X870E board coming. We are currently developing an ROG Crosshair X870E Extreme, which is like a no holds barred extended ATX motherboard that's going to set new standards in the series for performance, but that is coming a little bit later. So stay tuned for that as well. Both of those boards share a lot of the features that you're also going to see on the B-series boards, like the Q dashboard in the BIOS, that ASUS AI advisor, and of course, plenty of hardware upgrades compared to the previous gen. Like especially in these B-series boards, you're going to get more USB ports at faster speeds, more M.2 slots. You're going to get Wi-Fi 7, good stuff. So now that we've seen the higher end boards, let's take a look at the B-series boards, because I know a lot of people are here today to see those.
Oh yeah, this is the new stuff.
Yeah, and this one is kind of sick. I love that big heatsink at the bottom that says Strix and like the pixel arty kind of. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely my aesthetic when it comes to everything about this board. I mean, it's Strix boards. I'm always in love with them, but I do prefer
it's got the teal and
darker
pink
aesthetics. Yeah, I know, right? My whole office.
That's
is
the
that
Jake color scheme.
I love my retro wave, vapor wave, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So this is the ROG Strix B850E gaming Wi-Fi. So just like when we were talking about the Intel boards, the Dash E variant is our highest end offering of boards on the B-series chipset in the Strix lineup. So if you want to overclock, this is a really well-built board. It's got an 8-layer PCB, 2-ounce copper layers for signal integrity. It's got a 16+2+2 stage VRM. Lots of overclocking features, like I mentioned on the Apex. This one also has the dynamic OC switcher, which is just a godsend for AMD CPUs. I think we showed that off a year or two ago. It really lets you get the best of both worlds in terms of you get a high single core overclock, but also a high multi-core overclock. Previously, you couldn't do both at the same time. With our dynamic OC switcher, you can. Really, really nice if you plan on overclocking. This board also has a 5 gigabit Ethernet port, as well as five M.2 slots. Last gen's Dash E board had 4, so this is like an upgrade. I don't know who has 5 M.2 sitting around, but I know you're out there, guys. You're probably yelling at me in chat right now for saying that.
This is why we make them, for you.
I know. If you upgrade your storage over time and you've still got some old drives lying around that are maybe smaller, like, oh, I've got a 256 M.2, I've got a 512 M.2, I've got a 1 terabyte M.2. Yeah, throw them all on the board. Why not?
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm done with traditional SSDs. It's all M.2s at this point.
I've still got a few of the old SSDs lying around just because I had accumulated so many of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know
build
how it
after
goes.
build.
So we've added Wi-Fi 7 to this board, so you're set to go with the latest and greatest in wireless connectivity. You've got 12 USB ports, 12 USB ports with a mix of Type A and Type C. One of those Type C supports USB 4, and the other supports up to 30 watts of power delivery. So if you want to fast charge any mobile devices that you have, things like that.
Yeah, super convenient.
Yeah, I'll take it. You've got ROG Supreme FX audio on board, like we mentioned before, so our higher end audio chipset. There is a lot of good stuff on this board to satisfy even enthusiast level builders that just want a B-series board because they want the features they're going to use and not the features they're not. Like we talked about, right?
You had me at 12 USB ports. I mean, that is...
Me too, honestly. That's like, yeah, that's what wins me over at this point.
As a streamer, I just use so many devices, yeah.
Anyways. Oh, yeah. I mean, same. Next up, the ROG Strix B850F gaming Wi-Fi. This was described to me as like the little brother of the Dash E board. And it shares some design language stuff with it.
There's definitely a lot of similarities with these boards. I mean, this is just right next door, really, when it comes to what it is as a board. But yeah, I'm digging it.
Yeah, and it's got similar specs too, but it eschews some of the higher end features that some people may not need. So like USB 4 and the fast charging and that 5th M.2 slot. So this one has 4 M.2 slots. I'd wager most people aren't going to necessarily notice those. So if that's you,
right,
this board is a great choice.
Yeah.
If you do need those features, go for the Dash E. This one still has PCIe 5.0 for your graphics card and 2 of your SSDs. It's still got that ROG Supreme FX onboard audio, all the Q design stuff like Q latch and Q release and Q slide, all the things that make our lives easy when building. So great mix of features on this board. As we mentioned before, the Dash A, ROG Strix B850A board is the one with that standout white color scheme.
This is tough to pick a favorite, and this is up there for me. I don't know why. I just really like everything we've done with the shroud on this one.
Yeah, and it's still got the blue and the pink accents, which actually goes pretty well with the white. I love the way that the Strix lettering has like the shadow under. I don't know. It's really cool. This is up there for me. I've never built a
Really?
white machine. No, I haven't, because like it requires serious commitment, right? Like you got to get all new parts, all in white. If you upgrade in the future and there's no white card, like graphics
Right.
card for the one you want, it's like it
Historically,
just scares me.
and getting the GPU in white tends to be harder than in black, right? There tends
Yes.
to be less inventory.
Now, of course, most people build a PC and they keep it for a long time, right? So if that's you, you could totally go white. And it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
because of my job, I'm always swapping stuff out, and so white
Same.
doesn't make as much sense for me.
Yeah.
But I've always been just like a little bit jealous of these whiteboards. Specs here are overall similar to the Dash F. I believe one of the M.2 slots is PCIe 4.0 instead of 5.0 on this,
Okay.
but you still get one PCIe 5 M.2 slot, and you get a PCIe 5 X16 slot there for your graphics card. Plus, it's got all of those great easy DIY features for the GPU and M.2 slot.
Nice.
So, leaving you more time to admire that frosty build and manage your cables or Funko Pops or whatever you want to put in your showpiece white build.
Live animals, you name it. You do it.
You can put an actual panda in there. Okay. Just ROG does not endorse putting live animals in PCs. Moving on to the ROG Strix B850i gaming Wi-Fi. This is our ITX board for the batch. I'm not gonna lie, this one is tempting me. I love the shroud, the IO shroud on this. That looks so freaking cool.
This makes me want to build an ITX machine, like straight up, more than ever.
Join us. Yeah, I mean, if you can fit enough USB ports on there, you could do it, Jake.
I still actually use my other PCI lane, so I'm a weirdo like that.
Oh, that's okay. That's fair. Well, the first PC I ever built was Mini ITX. And this board makes that PC look like a calculator because it just has so many features on it. It was not even close to this decked out. This has two PCIe 5.0 M.2 slots, that giant shroud there, a VRM heatsink with active cooling. It's got Q latch, Q slide, the PCIe slot Q release slim, so you can just pop your graphics card out. All those years I spent. You want to talk about dropping screws in a PC? It's bad enough in an ATX PC. If you drop a screw in a Mini ITX PC, you're just like, well, I guess I'm not getting that screw back.
Yeah, you gotta have extras for sure in those situations. Then every time you move your PC, there's a slight rattle, but who cares?
You want to hear something real bad? One time, I had to build a Mini ITX PC for work, and I didn't have a magnetic screwdriver. Oof. So I would like drop screws in there, and I had no way to just like was like putting tape on the screwdriver I had and trying to like get it sticky to get. That was a disaster. I know that was a bad day, time. But I was doing it for work. I was like at an office, so I had whatever tools they had. Yeah, that was. So you know what? You can do it, guys. Get a magnetic screwdriver. You'll be ahead. You won't be the worst Mini ITX build I've ever seen. I just can't wait to see some of the small powerhouse PCs that people build with these. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that does it for all of our ROG boards. And next we can jump into some more tough boards. Which I guess
we are nearing the end, guys. I swear.
There's a lot.
There's so many boards today.
Yeah, let's start with the B850 plus Wi-Fi.
Yes. This is our full-size ATX tough board. Honestly, I'm pretty surprised at how many features you get on a tough gaming board these days. It's just like really awesome. You've got PCIe 5.0 on the X16 slot at the top there, just that one. You've got PCIe 5.0 on one of the M.2 slots. You've got onboard Wi-Fi 7. Like, it's crazy to me that Wi-Fi 7 is on
just tough now. Yeah,
a lot of these tough boards. Yeah. I feel like Wi-Fi 7 just came out. Maybe it's just that my life is flashing before my eyes. Who knows? 10 USB ports on the back. One of which is Type-C, plus you've got M.2 Q latch and the PCIe slot Q release on this one. Solid board. For a lot of gamers, you cannot go wrong with the feature set that this offers.
No, you really can't. It's got way more than I would have expected tough to have. But it's like, as ROG expands and gains new things, tough gets
it too.
The hand-me-downs. It's like one way to look at it. Like ROG evolves, so does tough. Everything gets better.
I'm just like, because I haven't built. My current PC does not have a lot of these new features. I'm like, man, these features have already come to tough. Like it's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are, those of you who are building with these boards are living in the future. It feels like such a huge jump from the motherboards of just a couple years ago.
True.
Micro ATX is next. B850M Plus and the tough B850M Plus Wi-Fi. This offers a lot for its size. Again, these micro ATX boards are really awesome if you're building a slightly more compact PC. You get to spend a little bit less money usually at the same time. 4 DIMM slots, PCIe 5.0. You've got 3 total M.2 slots, 12 USB ports.
That's
a compact
great
PC with 12 USB ports.
It's the dream.
That's the dream. This one does have Wi-Fi 6E instead of 7. So again, it varies a little bit from board to board. But again, also at the same time, if that's what your router supports, then this is the perfect match for you. Like, because you can't make use of Wi-Fi 7 if you don't also have a compatible router.
Very true.
Of course, on the other side, if you're just using Ethernet, we also offer a version of this board without onboard Wi-Fi at all. So you can save a few bucks there by ditching the wireless connectivity. Just remember, like Jake mentioned earlier, that also gets rid of Bluetooth. So if you need onboard Bluetooth, you want the Wi-Fi version. Okay, next up, Prime. We're nearing the end, guys. The last ASUS Prime boards, the Prime B840 Plus Wi-Fi. Slight twist here. So technically our AMD Prime boards are B840, not B850 chipset. So this is a new chipset for AMD that, again, like basically helps you save some extra costs for features you wouldn't necessarily use. Like, anyway, so if you're not planning on overclocking or you don't need PCIe 5.0, boom. You've got that here, right? Great for if you're building, more of a mid-range kind of gaming PC, right? Or you are building a general purpose machine or a very specialized system, right? Where you don't need all that extra speed and it's like serving a singular purpose in your house. Yeah.
Yeah. Still good to have options like that, and plenty of people just want to play retro games. I mean,
that's true too.
My wife plays Valheim and Stardew Valley. That's about it.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, you could build all kinds of machines with this and save a good amount of money. Now the other option is going to be micro ATX. So we've got a Prime B840MA and a B840MA Wi-Fi. These are going to give you that slimmer build again, both in terms of space and in terms of expansion features offered. But it's not feature bare. Like you've got 2 DisplayPort ports and 1 HDMI port on this. So you would still connect them to like a multi-monitor setup.
Yeah, nice.
With integrated graphics if you wanted to. Plus, it's got 3 M.2 slots, so you've got some flexibility for whatever type of PC you want to build with this board.
Honestly, that's great. It's a lot of options.
It is. And speaking of a lot of options, that's all the motherboards, guys. Boy, okay.
I don't think we've ever had that many individual products in a single stream.
Not in one stream, no. Because we did Intel and AMD boards today, and just
all stacked together.
There's so many of them, and yeah, that's a lot. That's our biggest motherboard stream ever. So, guys, that is everything we have to announce today. But our series of 2025 announcements is just beginning. We're going to be showing off all kinds of new gaming tech for the new year, including some stuff I know you guys are going to want to see if you're building a new PC in 2025. What could that be? Who knows? I don't know. Figure it out. Roll credits.